Recording.
Okay.
So don't mind. I'm listening. I promise. I'm cutting and listening at the same time.
Okay.
My puzzle that I was like, I printed these out and I was gonna glue them on cardstock and then cut them out so they could be sturdier. But stupid, it's not glue. Like I had glued this already and it's like already. So I don't know what to do. But anyways.
Okay. Hey, I just opened the PowerPoint. Let's see. Okay. So our first question is, as a teacher, what do you understand this white privilege listed in Peggy's article, and what do you plan to do to avoid or palliate such unearned advantage in your daily teaching? It's actually eye-opening when I read this article. Like something you don't realize is there.
Right. And like the past like few years, like it's been more like obvious about white privilege, but growing up as a kid, I had no idea like that existed. But so like I'm not sure if it's if it's something we should point out to our students or if they're too young for that yet. I don't know. But like as an adult, it's, obviously important to number one, recognize that as a white person, I have a privilege just because of the way this country has been created, and that I have a responsibility to use that to help others. And I forgot where I read this or heard this because it's been a while since I read the article and watched the videos. If like white privilege is something that has to stay, like if over time it's not a thing anymore just because every color has its own like privilege, like you know what I'm trying to say, like the reason why white privilege is a thing is because of the way that people of color have been treated. And if that wasn't the case, would white privilege even be a thing? You know what I mean? Like if they were already treated equally from the beginning, you know, if people didn't think that white was the proper race, or even if the roles were reversed somehow, like it was people of color that came here first, and then they used white people as slaves or something, and then then it would be something. I'm going off on a really weird tangent, but my point is that it's important to use like whatever privilege you have, be it like white privilege or like even a privilege of class or a privilege of like other things, to use that like to help people like grow, and so like there's not too much any inequity.
So I had the opportunity to go to or to kind of be a STEM teacher at the YMCA, and it was a summer camp that was free for kids in the 5th and 3rd ward. And I got the opportunity to go to both of them, but a few of the kids, they were like in the 6th grade, and they were like, there's no way I could go to college. And a couple kids spoke up, and they were like, there's no way. And this was at the school, it was majority Hispanic, and a lot of the kids came from families that were Spanish speaking at home and did not speak English. And the thing is, I started speaking about scholarships, and then a few other people spoke up about scholarships as well. And I don't think the right support is there in some of the schools to give kids the hope, the light they need to follow whatever dreams they have,
Right.
And I also have a friend who works as a college counselor for HISD, and she travels to different schools. But I think with HISD especially, she has the opportunity to take these kids to different schools, and they have field trips to go to different schools,
universities, different colleges.
Yeah. So they're touring college campuses and stuff, and I think that the gap it's there, but we're trying to bridge a gap, for white privilege may be a thing, but I think all races should have the same privileges, the same opportunities. Right. We are all in the same region. We grow up in the same schools. And maybe we don't. But the thing is, we should still have the same baseline. It's not equality, it's equity. Right. So we have to bridge the gaps where we can as teachers and try and bring light to different opportunities and stuff. I don't know.
I came to this country, I think I came on 1999. That was so many years ago. And I spoke English, but, it was very different. It was a school English, you never learned English like a class. Mm. So when I first got here, it was difficult. You couldn't really understand what people are saying because for me, they speak too fast. So, I didn't have much money, so you have to get I was working as a TA in the school, and then in the weekend I went to work, some whatever I can find. But strangely, maybe it's at that time I feel like you basically don't have anything to lose. So all you can do is do your best to study, to work. And I really didn't feel there's some, you have some, you're lower than other people, or you just try your best to work hard. And all the people I know, like the professor in the school, or they all very, very nice. They all help me a lot. So really, I didn't really feel, that part of the difficulty. It was mostly the part of the study and then the money. You really didn't feel like you're lower than other race, or so I I'm trying to let you know from as not an immigrant, but someone came to this country and with nothing, and then you slowly get through school, get a job, and so for me, this kind of a topic, it was very new, for me. Maybe I didn't go through the school system, because I came already in the university, so I didn't go through the middle school time. So I really didn't feel. I just read article and trying to understand what this is, and trying to see what, instead of white privilege, what is those unearned advantage there could be. So for me, it's very different understanding for this. I don't know if I get the message across or not.
Oh wait, sorry.
I think for me, like growing up in school, I didn't feel any different. Like Ying said, I just went to school and I tried my hardest because that was just like my background, I guess. But yeah, I didn't really feel any difference in school. But like sometimes, even now, like even if I go out in public, say like I go to like Texas Roadhouse or something, I still feel like, oh man, I'm like the only non-white person in here or something. And I don't know. I don't know why I feel like that, but like, I just feel like, oh, all eyes are on me, you know? But there's got to be like something behind that.
Yeah, like this is kind of like, it's different obviously, but like I feel the same way. But like when I'm with my in-laws, because they're all Mexican and they all speak Spanish, and so like I'm the only white person there, so it's kind of like you, Mary, but just the opposite, like the non-white person rather than like the only whatever, you know what I'm trying to say. And so like just that feeling like you're the only one that's different.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But I think what she's trying to get across in the article, though, is like in the school systems, I think that the teachers are doing a good job at like, you know, relaying these kind of messages. But like, I guess for other people to realize it's kind of difficult, because she was comparing it to like men being privileged and them not, you know, taking that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And like I feel like the whole like white privilege thing obviously started out as a white male privilege thing, because like women didn't have a lot of privilege either back in the day. But they like white women back in the day still had a little more privilege than women of color, and now it's like starting to mellow out, but there's still like that TED talk, she said like it's like still important to understand like where it came from and
the
stuff.
history of
because if we lose that, then like you have the chance of like reverting back to like worse inequalities, I think. I don't know. But there was like the question I asked earlier, like, do we like teach our students anything about white privilege at all, you think? Or like not white privilege, but any kind of like privilege to like help others who don't have it, or to recognize, I don't know, because that's kind of hairy, because like you don't want kids to think that they're less than the other. I think that's maybe more of an adult thing. But then like when I don't know,
history, like how the history textbooks are written and stuff like that, like the perspectives. I mean, I graduated 7 years ago, from high school in Texas. And, yeah, I mean, the history textbooks, they were written with certain points of views in mind, with certain, Yeah, and it was definitely white privileged. And I think from like a history standpoint and from like in a science classroom, especially, you can bring up like, okay, so Rosalind Franklin, in my class, we're doing DNA right now, and they brought up Watson and Crick, who like came up with the model of DNA, but they completely forgot to mention Rosalind Franklin's X-ray crystallography that ended up like
her
they
work
found that
made
and
it
they
her
took
work.
it and they used it. It was
Yeah,
all
like her
work.
work made it possible
She
for their
paved the
models.
path for them.
Right.
Exactly. And
Right.
there was no mention of Rosalind Franklin, and I'm like, guys, we can't do that. Like, can we at least like just do that for 1 second? These are high school seniors, or no. They were actually ninth graders. But I wanted for a second to like give her a shout out.
Thankfully, which I'm kind of surprised it happened this way. Like, I went to a private Catholic school, and in our biology class, we learned about Rosalind Franklin first. That's how like I learned that she was the one. Like I learned about her before I learned about Watson and Crick, because my biology teacher was a woman, and I guess she wanted to make sure that we knew about her first, which was really like lucky for us. And we went to a Catholic school with very conservative and very weird people, so I'm surprised that actually happened.
No, I don't think I heard about Rosalind Franklin until my like community college biology class. So I don't know. I am disappointed in the schools I went to, but they just need to be improved.
Yep.
So now we see the importance to be aware of this kind of privilege is existing. Even people may not even aware they're doing it.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
and especially like if kids grow up with parents who are a little bit racist or anything. Well, I mean, it's just like you are their one person who could bring them out of that, to shine light onto that bias.
We can only do so much as educators.
Yeah.
Yeah, parents definitely play the biggest role
in the
kids growing past. A lot of time you see a problem kids, you just look at who's behind them. That's definitely, there's something. Okay, so I think for us, be aware they're existing, and also even more important, how we do to end it, how we do to make it not happening even more. I think at the end they were saying how we do to end it.
So, to end what?
This kind of unearned privilege.
I mean,
it could be white privilege. It could be others.
Gender, sex,
yes.
Sexual orientation.
Yeah.
I mean,
it could be any kind of privilege.
I mean, I feel like, unfortunately, that's always going to be there, because if there's even a few people who think like that, who've never had, like, the exposure to realizing their privilege, they'll spread that. And, like, I feel like the only way to, like, end it is for, like, to literally teach every single person. But even if you do that, you may not change their mind, because some people are so closed-minded and hard-headed and will deny to the day they die that they have any privilege, when in fact they do. So it's like you can't really, like, you can't end it by, like, changing people's minds about themselves and making them realize their privilege. But I don't know. You're on mute, honey.
I said, let's talk about our president while we're at it.
I don't want to vomit, thanks.
Okay, next slide.
Yes.
No, I'm just kidding. Sorry, that was.
No. But you know, for us, it's like many years ago when I first came to this country. Really, at least I didn't feel anything. It was very nice. I mean, towards the newcomers, whether they're immigrant or not. But now you don't. There's anger. There's different environment, totally different environment.
Yeah.
So how can all the little teachers try to change that? Well, the whole environment, the top architectures in a different direction.
I think just whenever one of the kids brings up Trump, you just kind of say, we're not even going there. That is like,
Hopefully by the time we have our own set classroom, he won't be president anymore. Because 2020 is, next year, and hopefully, by then he's gone.
Yep.
If not, then
we just hope that.
Okay, we're not going into the if not. No, I can't even.
Same.
We bring up this like the question, but it's like a dead end. All right.
Okay.
So the next, really next. In the article, the author compares the white privilege to male privilege, any other privilege we could experience in our lives. Give some examples. What is your idea about this X privilege? How we're going to deal with it? We touch on that. Any other privilege besides the gender, the race?
Let's see. There's sexual orientation privilege, being heterosexual is obviously a privilege over any others, and that's sort of getting better, but there's still and not just homosexual, the other kind of sexual, but being trans, just as a person, or being a non-bi, or those other things, that's being a cis, what they call cis person, is a privilege in itself too. And because I feel like the worst treatment are people who are transitioning into other genders. And but I mean, I feel like it's starting to get better, but I feel like that's when it comes to sexual orientation and gender and all that, being trans, I feel like is the hardest one, the one with the least privilege. So that's one.
Even in the hiring process.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of hiring process, another thing, I guess, but I feel like this is getting better now, is people having tattoos or not. It's not having any tattoos is considered a privilege, because people will hire you more if you don't have tattoos rather than you do, but having tattoos says nothing about your work ethic or your morals or anything like that, and just people it's just weird. But I think it's getting better though, but it's still there. What else? Oh, being a working mother or a single mother, or that's people, women who are in the workforce who are not a mother have the privilege of women who do have children, just because people think that, why are you working so hard? You need to take your child. They think being a mother is the only thing that women are good for, sort of thing, yeah. Which is super irritating. Even though being a mother is a very rewarding thing for some people, like people who don't have a child can have some privilege, not only in the way people see them, but also like in their time. Like having a child is very hard. And you, sorry, go ahead. You're the mother here. You and Ying are both mothers, but like, and I'm not, so I wouldn't know like as much as y'all. Obviously, I just know like because I live with my sister and she just had a baby, and so like she has to, and she has a job, and so it's like really hard for her to, not super hard, but it's hard to do that and get good sleep. So like, anyway,
Definitely.
y'all can talk way more about motherhood than I can.
No, it's just funny that you brought that up because my friend actually writing her personal statement to get into medical school, which she got accepted into, she didn't mention, she has 3 kids. She did not mention her kids once in there. She just mentioned that she had a supporting husband.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, why? Because her reasoning was that she was afraid that they would look at her like she couldn't handle it.
Oh.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah. But that's existing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people don't say, but they're definitely thinking about it.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. The kid's gonna get sick, and then you're gonna call in. You know, they will think like that.
Yeah, I'm definitely like worried for when I start school, and because my son, he gets sick, and I don't know, but I think I can manage it, but I just don't want them to, look at that any differently.
Yeah.
Oh, how cute he is. So it's important if we ever, in the school, we teach the kids not the correct, but, as fair as possible, the value. And this is make me think of, we have a saying in China. It's from Confucius, talking about 1,000 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So he had the very famous. We learned this probably in the either end of elementary or early middle school. They said, "What does teacher do?" The translating, I'm not translating right, but it's just that kind of meaning. So that he said that the teacher does 3 things. First is convey the value. This is the most important, the value. The second is teach knowledge, the very detailed knowledge. The third is answer questions. Mm. And the question not necessarily mean 1 + 2 is what? It's the question of life. Mm-hmm. So even so many years ago, 1,000 years ago, he bring up what teacher does. And in Chinese, he used only just a few number of words, but it includes so much meaning. And when we talk about these, even, as math teacher, probably, have less opportunity to talk about those things, but you do get touched on some of the, talking or chatting in the classroom. And we just try to convey the message to the students. We may not be able to change it, right, but we will influence them.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, the next question. In these weeks, reading, rethinking, poverty, and the casual conversations, the author, I think that's the video, the author brought to our attention the little things we do or say that become big factors in continuing to marginalize students in poverty.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think we should do in our classroom to address this topic?
I would think one like small thing is like if one day a student like forgot their pencil, like maybe like they just didn't have any at home or something, like just making sure that if the student doesn't have a certain material that they need, to not automatically like get mad at them for not having it because maybe like they couldn't have it, or you know, something along those lines. Just keeping in mind that students may not have everything that you think they do at home. Yeah, that's one thing that I can think of.
So we don't necessarily know what's happening in their family, in their home, what affect them. So not to, judge them just by your own view. I think just being tolerant a little bit and being considerate and for any little things, because even little things could affect the students. The other day, Monday, I was teaching, and I just happened to call a girl to answer the question. And the girl just looked at me like scared. Like I thought that she didn't know the answer. So I was even trying to, to help her. And then the girl next to her told me she has difficulties to speak in the class. Like she probably never speak in front of people. So I said, oh, okay. See, like we didn't know.
Right.
She has this thing. That's why she looks so scared. So things we didn't know or never experienced, but it could be a big thing, for them. Shall we move on to the next?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In this week's video, Tiffany Yana gave the talk that the TEDxRBA woman, what do you call that? The power of privilege. In her talk, privilege can do great things if we can use it in the positive way. We shall not focus on the privilege we don't have, but concentrate on those we do have. The existence of privilege of race, sex, it's there. How you see this idea in your future career as a teacher, how we're going to deal with it.
That reminds me of one of my favorite sayings. Never look into your neighbor's bowl, see what or how much they have. Only look in their bowl to see if they have enough. And I always do say that. Well, try to.
I think I remember hearing that somewhere on the internet too, but I like that a lot. I want to post it in my room somewhere, probably.
Yeah. You went to me on the camera. So yeah, I enjoyed her talk though.
Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah, she was super good. I liked it a lot, especially like when she was showing the picture of her grandfather and Martin Luther King Jr. I was like, that was so cool.
She's like, I never even noticed him in the middle.
Yeah.
She's lying. She totally knew who MLK was, but I get her point. That was cute.
Yeah. It was a really good point too at the end where it was like don't look at the pieces.
That's
No, I forgot what she said exactly.
Was it something like don't look
It's
at
been
what's
like,
missing, look at what's there, or something like that? Or am I making that up?
yeah.
There's always going to be something missing.
Mm-hmm.
Very few people has a lot, so, and that part I think we can definitely influence our students, be positive, and make the change on
Yeah,
your own.
that's a good point, and like that could also mean like making sure that they know what their talents are, what their skills are, and like helping them feel confident in themselves about anything. Because like I have a student in one of my mentor teachers class, in the GT class, who's like super smart, or she's super smart, but like she says she hates science because she's not good at it. She doesn't think she's good at anything, and but it was like I was like you're good at everything. What do you mean? Like you had, and then I was like just making him show like, okay, you did this like really well, and you know how to do this, like so you learned this super quick. Like that's a skill, like that's a good skill that's important to have. Oh, sorry, Mary. I don't know why I did that. Sorry, Mary. I don't know why I did that. What even happened? I'm sorry. No. Oh no, you did. Oh, did I do that? I'm so confused. Okay, I hate this Skype. I'm sorry.
Guys, that's another thing too. We have privilege as teachers to
That's
teach
true.
kids.
That's an excellent point. Can you say that again one more time in case Dr. Shields missed that when she watches this?
You can repeat it, Melanie.
I don't want us to get it wrong. Go ahead.
Wait, what?
Eli wanted to.
Okay.
Okay. Should we move on to the next slide?
Okay.
The last one?
Yeah. So the other video, the topic of microaggression was discussed by Dr. Sue. What is the meaning of microaggression? How shall we avoid this in our future classroom?
So I see microaggression as something that's not outright racism, but like something that, for instance, where did I see? Somewhere I saw either on the internet, on Twitter, or an article where it was like, where a white person would like notice a woman of color's hair and would say, "I like your hair. Is that a wig?" Like you wouldn't have asked that if it was a white person. Like that's kind of like a microaggression thing. Like you didn't, like the microaggression being like you didn't intend to be racist, but you were. You know what I mean?
So I think they saying even though it's not the intention, it's not like purposely, but there are damages, there are impact to the person.
Like if someone were to hear that, like that would like really like hurt their feelings and their self-esteem. Like, oh, I must have terrible hair if you think like it's a wig since it looks so nice. Like I don't know.
I think it's just like one of those backsided compliments.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, you look so pretty. You look different today. You're so pretty. That kind of thing.
Yeah, you look so good in glasses. That's another one.
Mm-hmm.
Or, yeah. That's one I get. But
People tell you that? Dang.
Yeah. I don't know.
Excuse
I
me.
definitely feel like there's room for improvement. Like for my teachers in high school, like there was a couple teachers that kind of ninth grade teacher and an eighth grade teacher. You definitely like said a few microaggressions, and I just like that was my environment, but that was like maybe someone looked up to them
Right.
or something. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Like, it's just
Like, right, and that brings up a good point. Like, being a teacher, it's super important to be extra aware and careful to
Yes.
not make any kind of microaggressive comments to students, because they really like respect you and trust you, and if you're the one that makes them feel that way, then it's like it has a bigger impact than as someone that they didn't really care about or know tells that, you know.
Yeah, it's great point for sure.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, in China they have these two philosophies has been like against each other for. One is that the kids are born, so people are born with good intention. They're born with good heart and good things. And the other philosophy was they're born evil. You have to teach them, you have to restrain them to, to be better. But I don't know others. I believe they're born good. They just influenced by the environment, parents,
Yeah, hate is definitely
and slowly the idea get into the head. So it's very important for us to teach them and also to protect that little heart.
Right.
Yeah. Alrighty. Anything else for this, or shall we discuss about the
clinical interview.
clinical interview?
Yeah, we can go ahead and do that. So, if anyone's opposed, I was thinking about me being the interviewer, because when I did my clinical interview, I didn't like take notes. Like, I don't know how you would take notes on that, and I feel like every one of y'all are better at note taking than me, so I would be bad at that. Number one, and I know Mary doesn't want to write a lot, so if she wanted to do the other thing, or I don't know, whatever y'all wanted to do, but if I could be the interviewer, if someone else really wanted to be the interviewer, that's okay too.
I actually write.
Okay.
I'm terrible at typing. I'm gonna be honest there. Like me doing my clinical interview while trying to type was a mess. Yeah. Just. Are we gonna do it now?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
All right, cool.
Wait, so who are we gonna interview?
Interviewer and note taker, and
so there's one interviewer, there's two note takers, and then the editor that like takes all of our summaries and like patches them together.
I can put things together. I know I need help from you guys, but I can put things together.
Yeah, like Dr. Shield said, that was like one of the ones that has a lot of work, but that's okay.
That's okay.
Who's getting interviewed?
That's a great question. I don't know. Because like I feel like everybody, like most people use like either their family or you. Mary, you said you use Veronica. But I feel like we can't use anybody in our ACP because they're gonna be doing the interview like their interview, so they're gonna be busy on that. So I don't know.
Are we not using each other though? And are we doing like science or math?
Well, if I'm the interviewer, then we probably should do science since I'm a
Okay.
science. I mean,
Yeah.
I could do a math because I'm good at math too. It's whatever y'all want.
Unless you want to interview Jill, and then I can take notes and help Ying out with the putting it together. I'm fine with
I
that.
will try and go so slowly. I will spread it out.
So wait,
Can we even have one of the group member as
I don't know.
I mean, if we have one of our group members, it would have to be the one that's one of the two the one that's like editing everything together, because the other two are taking notes, since two people have to take notes.
Right.
Okay, I will throw many curveballs that will take so long for you to.
We also need to come up with a question or a problem.
Yeah.
I think we do that collectively. So
Are we gonna do that later?
no, I mean I think we do that all together.
Right.
That's, like,
So
not
do y'all want to do that? Like figure out the problem now, or like meet up again like Monday next week to figure out
Do you
a
guys
problem?
have ideas right now?
No. I mean, what I did for my clinical interview was something about like the cell and how it gets rid of waste. What were y'all's?
Trying to remember.
I feel like for a science, it would be good to like have a problem that has to do with like a process, because it has like steps and like it's long and it has lots of answers and possible questions.
Yeah, as long as it has more content, you can, open up and the conversation. I think that would be good.
Yeah.
Mine was the theory of evolution.
Ooh.
About
That's
like
a good one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good one.
Yeah, it was like we were able to spread it out.
I did lunar phases, and it was a little bit too elementary. It didn't take up enough time. Like it was like 15 minutes, but it ended up like towards the end, it was drawn out scaffolds.
Oh yeah, and then I started. We did along with that natural selection and all that topic. We did Punnett squares and stuff. And
cool. So yeah. What was your question? Like, what was your problem question?
What do you recall about the theory of evolution?
That's a good question.
I would have to watch the video and look for my notes.
I thought it had to be like, that's good, but like I thought it had to be like a problem to solve. That's why I was getting irritated trying to find a problem the first time. 'Cause like you can't solve anything in science. It's the point of science. It's always open. There's nothing to solve.
Right.
But I feel like for next week, like we can meet like maybe because it's due on Saturday. So I feel like
what Saturday?
I feel like the interview itself should be done at least Tuesday, at the latest Wednesday, so that way we can give Ying our summaries like either Thursday or Friday at the latest.
I thought it wasn't due until after Thanksgiving.
No, it's due the 23rd.
I thought it is 23rd or something.
Yeah, it's due the 23rd.
Oh, I thought it was a week after. Dang. Okay.
So
yeah, I thought in class she was moving it back.
Yeah,
I think I was talking about the teaching philosophy, guys.
Yeah, the teaching philosophy is due after. That's the only thing that's due. The teaching philosophy and a reflective journal are the only things that are due after Thanksgiving.
Okay. Yeah, I can meet next week. Or
did they say how long it would needed?
20 minutes, I think.
Okay.
Sorry, I had to move because my laptop is dying and my charger is down here.
Oh, so who we're interviewing?
Me? We can figure it out. Because we don't know if it's going to be one of us or... Sorry. Yeah.
I feel like she's gonna say no for it to be one of us because like she
Yeah.
wants all of us to like be.
I think it would be safe to have someone outside our group.
Mm-hmm. So what are we going to do, though? If you're interviewing someone, you're going to just record it and upload it and we'll watch it?
No, like, at least two. Like, I feel like the two note takers need to be there, and then Ying. I don't think you have to be there because you're not note taking.
We could just do another virtual discussion. That works. That way it's completely like we can see everything.
Well, I had asked her when we did the first clinical interview if I could virtually do the interview virtually with someone else, and she kind of said no.
But I think it kind of has to be now that there's so many people.
Like maybe you two.
No, I mean like you can like interview your sister and we can sit here and watch you do it.
Oh.
If like you can't interview anybody.
Huh. That's a good idea.
It's the same prompt and like amount of.
I feel like my sister's gonna say no though. I mean, I can ask, but like she hated doing it the first time because she said because she doesn't remember anything about like her science from high school because she took dual credit in high school, so she didn't take any kind of science in college, so she didn't remember anything. And she's like, I felt so stupid. Okay, I'm sorry. Because she's the type of person that gets super frustrated super easily, and like she doesn't like to feel dumb.
Yeah, Veronica asked me about cell theory, and I felt kind of dumb being a bio major and not remembering anything. Yeah. I didn't remember it either. You're like,
So we have, today's Tuesday, so we have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to find, or at least Wednesday, Thursday to find someone. Wednesday, Thursday, maybe Friday. And then hopefully I can interview them Monday or Tuesday. Preferably Monday.
But maybe I'll ask Dr. Shields if the plan, if that's gonna be okay. The interviewer will do this recording and we watch and see what she says. Okay. Because if she say no, you have to all be there.
Yeah, that's true.
You have to plan it. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll ask her. I'll send a message tonight.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem.
Like, I just automatically, all of a sudden, like, super overwhelmed because I feel like, does anybody teach next week?
I do.
I teach next week, too. So, like, having to do this and come up with a lesson, because I'm teaching this week, so, like, sometimes I've been doing this lesson for tomorrow up till now, and then I only have a week to do next week's lesson, so...
I'm not doing my fourth teach until after we get back from the break, so I'll be somewhat free. But I scheduled my PPR for Saturday, but I might move it back to the week of Thanksgiving. So I'm gonna input as much as I can and just communicate with me, and we figure out what the topic is and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very tough. Like. Last Wednesday, I finally got the idea, the content confirmed of what I'm teaching. And then I have to teach on Monday. So I did the practice on Thursday, but, it was so rushed. And then I got finally approved on Sunday night.
Wow.
Yeah. Because
they gave you that stupid problem. Did she ever tell you like what happened with that? Like what she told them about that problem?
The problem it's like she handed to me. Those are the problems
right.
you need to address. Those are making sure the students will do good on the test. So I have no choice. But it's going to happen again. So on next Monday, I'll be teaching. So when I asked my teacher, what is your plan this time? She said, we'll discuss on Wednesday, which is tomorrow. So
that's how my mentor is too. She tells me stuff last minute and then like give me stuff and I'm like, well, it's not even on the teaks, like on the objectives or like the vocab. And she's like, what? It should be on there. I'm like, well, it's not. And then she's like, oh, well, just teach it anyways. I'm like,
yeah, well, my teacher doesn't even let me teach during her science lesson. I teach during like a study hall period, and like she could just like lets me be on my own. Like she doesn't give me anything, like anything. The one thing she's given me are magnifying glasses. That's it. Like my first lesson, every single material I had was my own, and then this week is basically everything. I have my fossils, but she's letting me use her magnifying glass. But that's it. Like she doesn't like look at my lesson or like, which is like. It's good because she doesn't micromanage me or anything, but at the same time, it's like, can you give me a little bit of guidance?
yeah, we're on the two ends. Yeah. I'm like, totally controlled. So, well, anyway, I'll ask the questions tonight, and then we'll go from there because that decides. How we can,
okay. Okay. Thank you.
okay.
Well, we just have to make it through.